Your chest tightens. Again. It is 3 in the morning, and your mind is running a race you never agreed to enter. You replay the conversation from yesterday. You rehearse the disaster that has not happened yet. Your body is lying still in the dark, but inside, you are sprinting. And here is the strange part. Nothing is actually wrong. No lion is chasing you. No fire is burning. So why does it feel like your life is on the line? A man who was born a slave figured out the answer to that question almost 2,000 years ago, and what he discovered would let him stay calm in situations that would break most of us in seconds. But before I tell you how he did it, you need to understand just how much this man had already lost. Rome, 1st century. A boy is dragged through the streets in chains. His name is Epictetus, and he is property. He does not own his body. He does not own his time. He does not even own his own name. Epictetus simply means acquired one. He belongs to a wealthy man named Epaphroditus, a secretary to the Emperor Nero. And this is where the story turns dark. There is an account, passed down through the centuries, that one day his master, in a fit of cruelty, began to twist the boy's leg. Epictetus did not scream. He did not beg. He looked at his master calmly and said, "If you keep going, you will break it." The master kept going, and the leg snapped. Epictetus, without raising his voice, simply said, "There, I told you it would break." He would walk with a limp for the rest of his life. Now stop and think about that for a moment. A boy with no power, no freedom, no rights, in the middle of physical agony. And he is calmer than most of us are when the internet goes down. How? How does a person in the worst possible position possess the one thing the rest of us, with all our freedom, cannot seem to hold on to? A quiet mind. It was not because he did not feel pain. It was because he had discovered something about the nature of suffering that changed everything. And it starts with a single, uncomfortable idea. Here is the idea. Epictetus said it in one line, and that line has echoed for 2,000 years. People are not disturbed by things. They are disturbed by their opinions about things. Read that again slowly. It is not the event that wrecks you. It is the story you tell yourself about the event. The traffic jam does not make you angry. Your belief that you should not be stuck, that this is unfair, that you are going to be late, and it will be a catastrophe. That is what floods your body with stress. The event is neutral. It just sits there. You are the one pouring gasoline on it. And now the story pivots to you. Think about the last time anxiety had you by the throat. Maybe it was a text message you saw but were too afraid to answer. Maybe it was a meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. Maybe it was a bank balance you kept checking, as if staring at the number would change it. In every single one of those moments, notice what was actually happening in the physical world. Nothing. You were sitting in a chair. You were lying in a bed. The threat was not in the room. The threat was inside your skull, playing on a loop. And Epictetus understood that this loop is not random. It follows a pattern, which means it can be interrupted. But to interrupt it, you first have to see the one invisible line that runs through your entire life, the line almost no one can see. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Epictetus called it the dichotomy of control, and it is the heart of everything he taught. He said there are two kinds of things in this world. There are things that are up to us and things that are not up to us. Up to us are our own judgments, our own choices, our own responses, what we decide to pursue, and what we decide to avoid. That is it. That is a shockingly short list. And not up to us? Everything else. Our reputation, our health, ultimately, other people's opinions, the past, the economy, the weather, whether the person we love loves us back. Almost the entire universe falls into the second category. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. Almost all of your anxiety, every sleepless night, every knot in your stomach comes from one simple error. You are trying to control things in the second category. You are pouring your energy, your hope, your peace of mind into outcomes you were never able to command in the first place. You lie awake trying to control what your boss thinks. You cannot. You spiral trying to control whether the plan works out. You cannot. You exhaust yourself trying to control how someone else feels about you. You never could. It is like grabbing the sun and demanding it stop moving. Of course you are anxious. You have handed the steering wheel of your emotions to forces that will never do what you want. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine you took all that energy, all that desperate grip, and you pulled it back to the only place it was ever meant to live, your own response. This is the turning point. This is what let a crippled slave sit calmer than an emperor, because Nero, the man who owned Epictetus's world, was terrified all the time. He was paranoid, he was tormented, he had everything, and he controlled nothing inside himself. Epictetus had nothing, and he controlled the only thing that ever mattered. And here is what almost no one realizes. Modern science has quietly proven Epictetus right. There is an entire branch of psychology built on his exact insight. It is called cognitive behavioral therapy, and it is one of the most effective treatments for anxiety ever developed. Its founding principle, the thing it rests on entirely, is this: it is not the situation that creates your emotion, it is your interpretation of the situation. That is Epictetus, word for word, wearing a lab coat. Researchers have shown that when you catch the thought, examine it, and reframe it, the physical symptoms of anxiety actually decrease. Your heart rate settles, your breathing slows. The story you tell yourself is not just poetry, it is biology. So the question becomes practical. How do you actually do this when the panic is rising and your mind is screaming? This is where the 3 steps come in, and they are simple enough to use tonight, the very next time your chest starts to tighten in the dark. Step 1. Pause and name it. The instant you feel the wave rising, you stop and you say to yourself, "This is an impression. It is not reality. It is a story my mind is telling me." Epictetus trained his students to do this constantly. When a troubling thought appeared, he told them to say, "Wait for me a little. Let me see who you are and what you represent. Let me test you." You do not obey the thought. You interrogate it. You put it on trial before you let it sentence you. Step 2. Sort it. You ask one question: is this up to me or not up to me? Draw the line. If the thing you are afraid of is entirely outside your control, what someone thinks, what already happened, what might happen tomorrow, you say, "This is not mine to carry," and you set it down, not because you do not care, but because gripping it changes nothing except the amount of pain you feel. And step 3, act on your slice. There is almost always one small piece of the situation that is up to you, not the outcome, the action. You cannot control whether you get the job, but you can control whether you prepare. You cannot control whether they forgive you, but you can control whether you apologize. You cannot control the diagnosis, but you can control the next honest, courageous thing you do. You pour all your energy into that slice, and you release the rest. Pause and name it. Sort it. Act on your slice. That is the code. That is what a slave used to become, freer than an emperor. So, let me answer the question I asked you at the beginning. Why does it feel like your life is on the line at 3 in the morning when nothing is actually wrong? Because your mind cannot tell the difference between a real threat and a vivid story about a threat, unless you teach it to. Epictetus spent his life teaching that one skill, not how to escape the world, how to meet it without being ruled by it. He never got his leg back. He never erased the years in chains. But he walked out of slavery with the one freedom no one could ever take, the freedom to choose his own response. And that freedom is sitting inside you right now, unused, waiting. The next time the anxiety comes for you tonight, do not fight the wave and do not run from it. Just pause, name it, ask if it is yours to carry, and then do the one small thing that is. If this reached something in you, stay a while, subscribe, and let us keep walking this path together, because the quiet mind is not a gift you are born with. It is a skill you build, one interrupted thought at a time.